يا أيها المدثر قم فأنذر وربك فكبر وثيابك فطهر والرجز فاهجر ولا تمنن تستكثر.
Hello.
Hello?
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Just with all due respect, you sound a bit young, so I just want to make sure you're not female or you're not of a younger age. So, how old are you? And
Oh, I'm a girl, but
Oh, okay.
I'm 18.
mashallah. Okay. Sorry, my apologies. Just making sure we're good with
No, of course.
the policies. Okay. And what can we call you?
Could you repeat that?
What's your name?
Oh, you can just call me Vinny.
Vinny. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess I'll just go down the list of what's on screen, the 3 questions. Do I believe in God? Okay, I'm actually gonna get to that last because I have a little bit to say on that. I'm personally a Hindu. And that was what I was born as, that's how I was raised. And as I love learning about different religions, different cultures, that's kind of why I decided to join this live. But, I consider people who practice Islam to be my brothers and sisters. I believe that, we're all brothers and sisters in humanity, of course. But as for if I believe in God, I believe that God is kind of like a beacon of hope. So, for instance, again, I'm Hindu, so we have a God. So it's a polytheistic religion, and we have one God who is the Lord Indra, and he is the god of rain, and we say that he's the one who gives us rain. Of course, now we know that it's because of precipitation and all of that, but I believe that God is how we are able to express our feelings and like our hope and all that.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. So I do have a little bit of experience with Hinduism. I appreciate you saying that it is polytheistic because a lot of the times the people that I speak to that are Hindu, they frame it as monotheism, meaning that you're worshiping just Brahma, but you're just going through all of these different avatars so that you can get over to Brahma. Are you under the same presupposition? Meaning, when you say that it's polytheistic, I understand it as you just completely acknowledge that there's more than one God. So I just want to clear the air. Is it a path towards Brahma, or is it something that you acknowledge that there's all these different gods?
So Hinduism it's a very old religion. It's one of the oldest religions that are still practiced, but and India is and because it's so old and India is such a large country, there are a lot of different I guess there are a lot of different sects of Hinduism.
Sure.
So depending on where you're from in India, or just in general, because there are people in Guyana who they have a very large Hindu population, then you will have a different understanding of that same religion.
Okay, no problem. So I guess we can just start with some of the fundamental things, right? Which is most important. So the fundamental thing is what makes most rational sense to you. Would it make most rational sense to believe in multiple gods, or would it be more rational to believe in one supreme deity that doesn't have any partners?
So, how to explain this? So again, as I said earlier, I don't believe in God as like an entity. I believe in him as kind of like a guidance.
Okay, no problem.
When you say guidance, do you mean more of a concept?
Yeah.
Are concepts? But I'm sorry to interrupt you. I want to
Yeah, of course.
get to the bottom of this before y'all go on.
Yeah.
Are concepts real?
So that would be I would say that'd be like asking if love is real. It's not something that is a physical manifestation, I guess. It can be expressed as such, but it is something that we believe in, and it's something that you like feel.
So good. Or you can see the proofs of it, right? You can
Yeah.
see the effects. Okay. So in Islam, we don't believe that God is part of this universe. He's not. ليس كمثله شيء وهو السميع البصير. He is. There's nothing like unto him, and even the him is not a male him, meaning that he has a physical maleness, right? Like humans and whatever do. So by that same token, something can be real, it exists, but it doesn't mean that it is inside this universe where we can touch it, feel it, right? We don't believe Allah is in the universe, right? He's above, He's beyond everything. So we actually could agree with that. And also we say that we see what Allah has done from the things around us. We can understand God's mercy by the mercy that He puts of things around us, of the guidance that He has given us, the revelation that He's left with us, the prophets that He sent, et cetera, et cetera. How there's no way that we could have anything in this universe without some sort of creator, designer, right? But that doesn't, we don't have to believe that God is this incarnate, right, being that you do find in Hinduism and in Christianity and even in Judaism, right, where God becomes part of the world and the universe, et cetera, to be able to know Him. So the fact that you're already saying that you don't believe He's physical, He's like this, that's actually a good thing, and it means that you're a little bit closer to understanding who we believe God is than you even knew.
Yeah, no, of course. I think that at its core, most religions are quite similar. Everyone believes in, love and in peace and in just being a good person and kindness. So that's another thing I feel that Hinduism provides is we say it's more of a practice than an actual and a way of life than like an actual religion, in which we feel that everyone believes in kindness, everyone believes in love and all that.
Sure. And so let me try to ask some of the critical questions, right? Because where our fundamental difference is that you believe that God is actually a part of this physical universe, right? So you believe that His substance, His being, is intertwined with every object that exists. Is that correct?
In a sense, yeah.
Okay. So, like, for example, if I were to ask you, is the plants that are outside of my house, are they divine?
We would say that God has blessed us with it, with the plant, but we wouldn't really say it's necessarily divine in a sense. We would say it has some significance to us.
Sure.
But
and I can agree to that. I totally agree. I agree that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had blessed us with these plants. He's blessed us with water, blessed us with many things. But I need to really hone in if you believe that He is actually a part in that plant in some way, shape, or form, meaning the deity that you believe, the God that you believe in, is He a part of that plant?
I would say with the specific example that you are saying, I would say that specifically in my belief, again, because Hinduism is very broad, but in my personal belief, no. But I would say I can give a different example in which that would be the case.
Okay, what's the example?
Yeah, so for instance, paper and books, we consider that to be the goddess Saraswati, who is the goddess of, knowledge and all that, right?
Okay, so is she an actual part of the physical material of the book?
We believe that if I were to step on the book, with my feet and all that, I would be stepping on God.
Okay, so she is a part of the physical being.
The knowledge that the book provides me is
that's metaphorical. That's okay. I understand. That's metaphorical, right? You're saying that there is essence inside this book through literature where you can gain understanding and so on and so forth, right? So I'm asking you if God is part of this universe in any way, shape, or form. So let's try to be a little bit more direct. The knowledge that I have in my mind, okay, that I have obtained, if I were to read from this book, is Saraswati now part of my mind?
Kind of, yeah. You could say that.
Am I divine then?
No, she has given you um that knowledge,
Does all
but the
knowledge
knowledge
belong to her?
itself is divine, but you obtaining that knowledge does not necessarily make you divine.
Okay, so is she knowledge?
Yeah.
So if I obtain knowledge, therefore I have obtained your God.
You wouldn't have attained our God. It's like a gift. Almost.
Hold on, I need you to follow along with what I'm putting down in the framework that I'm putting it down in.
Yeah,
Okay?
maybe like
Because
rephrase
you're
it,
saying,
'cause
sure,
maybe
sure,
I'm
sure.
just misinterpreting.
No problem. I'm trying to get a crystal definition of whether or not you believe that God is outside of creation or that they are in creation in some way, shape, or form. Right now,
I
we've
can
established.
actually answer that.
Okay, so what is the answer? Are they inside of creation?
God can descend upon us. So I'll give the example of like Krishna, right?
Would you mind just doing
There-
yes or no first, so I can kind of mentally set myself as to what you believe? Because
I would say it's not binary, so I couldn't give you a yes or no answer.
okay, so because this is what I've found with my experiences with people that believe in
Mhm.
Hinduism. Okay, they go towards this spiritual realm, and what they do is they obfuscate it with Sanskrit. So what they'll say is, okay, spiritually speaking, this is how this could potentially happen in some world. So therefore, we're going to adopt it in this world because we don't have a full understanding, and that's acceptable to us. Okay, which means, in short, you're upon conjecture. You're not upon certainty. You're upon conjecture. So the way that this is accepted as a kind of where it's palpable to the mind is either through poetry or through stories or through very sweet explanations. But at the
Mhm.
bottom of the like where the meat and potatoes are, either
Yeah.
God is going to be a part of the universe, okay, or they're going to be outside of the universe. So if you believe that God is a part of the universe, now what happens is that there's a limitation that's placed on God. Okay. If you believe that he's outside of the universe, meaning outside of all creation, he's independent, self-sustaining. Now you're aligning more with what we believe in as far as our understanding of God. Okay. So I'm just going to ask you politely one more time. Are they a part of the universe and you're trying to frame it in a sweet way? Or are they not part of the universe?
Oh, okay, okay. Now I understand what you're asking. Okay, yeah, no, then definitely like they are separate from the universe. Yes.
Okay, great. Got you. Okay. So I don't know what form of Hinduism you follow, but this would be the first time that I have heard, because typically what Hindus abide by is a form of panentheism, okay, where they are the universe and the energies that they transpose are the universe. And all of
Yeah,
these
but that
energies
wouldn't necessarily make them within the universe. They would be beyond the universe in the sense of like they have created it and there are like multiple universes, but they are not confined to our universe. They are not within it.
I
They are
understand.
beyond and they are it.
I understand. But what's happening here, my dear sister, is that you're creating a part-whole relation with God. And anything that has parts is a composite being. And the parts are not independent. They're dependent on each other and they're dependent on the whole. So therefore, the God that you have is a dependent composite being. And this violates the very existence of God, right? The nature of God being independent, you have a strong violation there. Okay. So, like, for example, one thing that I hear that Hindus like to say is there's really no such thing as life and death. There's just this idea of a constant rebirth. And there's this idea of energies going from one place to another.
Yes.
Okay. So the whole matter of existence then is completely futile and falls into what would basically be a magical dream. That there's no value to anything because everything is a zero-sum game. So the value of God is equivalent to value of you and me. And the value of you and me is equivalent to the value of the pebble that's on the street. When we know that that's not the case, we know that that pebble is completely worthless from our viewpoint as human beings. And we know that we're completely worthless from the viewpoint of God, meaning that God doesn't need us in any way, shape, or form. Understand?
So two things. One is that when you say part whole relationship, that is basically what Hinduism is. We believe like that.
I know what you believe. So, but that's why I was able to give you you don't have to rephrase it. If you accept what I say, then we're fine. So I'm trying to tell you that back to the original question of what makes most sense to you. Does it make most sense that we are like God, meaning that we are on the same level from your understanding as the pebble and as the Almighty Creator, because it's all the same? Or does it make most sense that Almighty God is higher above us and we are his creation, and that he is not dependent on us in any way, shape, or form?
So we have multiple gods, right? There is not one God. So
I understand, sister.
say like, is God reliant on us? And such, we need to kind of like talk about like, well, which God are we talking about?
Okay, sister. So hang on one second. This is, and again, I mean this with all due respect.
Of course.
I love the way that you're having the discussion. I just want to pause you for just a moment. When you say that we have multiple gods, okay, now I'm going to ask the question: are these gods dependent on each other? So, for example, one god gives rain, Indra, right? Another one gives knowledge. So, without one, there would be no knowledge. So, does Indra depend on the existence of the god of knowledge or the goddess of knowledge and any other god? Right. Because rain would be useless if life was not given. Rain would be useless if the wind was not given. Rain would be useless if the earth, the construct, was not given, right? So now you have a dependency of one god to another, okay? And then I'm going to pose the same question to you, sister. Is it more rational to believe in a dependent God in any way, shape, or form, whether it be on his creation or another God? Or is it more rational to believe that there is one supreme deity that has no dependents, that has no partners whatsoever?
So I actually do. The first part of your question, I actually really like the way you framed that, because it got me like thinking. I was like,
Sure.
because I haven't really had people kind of ask that kind of question. I just really appreciate it. I just wanted to make that.
You're most welcome.
clear.
No problem. No problem. Yeah. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So I would say that, so when we bring up like Indra and Saraswati, again, this is my understanding, but Saraswati got her power from the Lord Brahma. So we have the creator, we have like the present, and then we have the destroyer.
I understand
right?
completely. Yes,
So-
I'm aware.
They are all separate and above. They are non-dependent.
Well, hang
They
on.
are separate,
So-
above, and they are all encompassing.
Okay, but I'm going to show you why that's not true. Number one, when you say that God got their power, this is a first violation. When you say that God has to obtain his or her power, right? This just doesn't make sense because God is all powerful by default. Okay. Secondly, if you have one that is a shaper, one that is a destroyer, and one that is a creator, okay, you now have an interdependency between the three. What the interdependency is somebody has to give life in order for somebody to take life. And in order for something to take life and experience the process of entropy, the morpher has to be there. Okay. And now I'm going to ask you the same question. Is it more rational to believe that one God does all three of these and doesn't require getting any of his power in any way, shape, or form from anything else? Or is it more rational to say that I have three interdependent gods that other gods are fully dependent on for their power?
If you want my true answer, I'd say it'd be three interdependent gods.
Why?
Because when you look at polytheistic religions, we have a lot of like mythology, right? We have like a lot of stories. Now, those stories are representative of what happens in our everyday life. They are supposed to be kind of like a manifestation. Our gods are imperfect,
Okay.
Because again, it's
So
God.
can I pause you
It's
for
not
just a
like
second?
God had to get power from another God.
Right.
It's multiple different gods who are interdependent, just like how we are in our current society.
Hang on, sister. This is an almighty being that we're talking about. We're not talking about human beings and human society, and us as an analogous example. You believe that it is more rational to think that there are three interdependent gods. So let me ask you this. The God that gave life, did he give life to the one that causes entropy? And did he give life to the one that causes death?
Oh, wait, I actually like this question. Okay, so the way the story goes is that okay, this is a little bit different depending on who you ask, but from what I know, because the God Vishnu, right? So he's the one who is like, kind of like the calm. He created the like from his like umbilical cord almost. There was a flower, and that kind of opened up, and the big
Sister,
that showed
again,
Brahma.
I mean this with all due respect. But
No,
you're
so let
talking
me
about,
finish. I feel
please,
like
sister,
it
I
makes
can't,
sense once you
because
finish.
it doesn't make sense already. You're saying that God had an umbilical cord. Okay? This doesn't make sense, sister. What
I
I'm
said
trying
like
to-
an umbilical cord.
Okay. A God had something like an umbilical cord and a flower came out. And this, sister, these are all sweet words through mythology that have basically been indoctrinating you from the get-go. And when you're implored to utilize critical thought, the very basic question of whether or not one supreme deity that is not dependent somehow does not outweigh there being three interdependent beings. First off, do you know what it means to be dependent?
Yeah, I know what it means to be dependent.
In its most basic sense, just so that we're on the same page, is that you are imperfect. Okay? When you say that you believe in imperfect gods, this is an egregious error. God, by definition, is perfect. Anything that has any form of imperfection, meaning it can be improved upon or reduced upon, it is not God. This is a myth of what you believe God to be through sweet words. And I'm telling you that doesn't make sense what you're saying.
So I think that's where we like kind of fundamentally disagree between a monotheistic religions and the Abrahamic religions and the polytheistic ancient religions such as Hinduism.
Correct.
In which how to explain this? As I said in the beginning, I do not believe in God as like this all-powerful being. I believe in him as like kind of a manifestation of things that we cannot yet to explain. And we use that to kind of get a better understanding of the world around us.
I understand, sister, but your reasons for believing this are irrational. That's what I'm trying to bring to your attention. I'm trying to tell you that what you're saying and why you believe what you believe, it doesn't make sense. It is an irrational construct of thought by you just labeling it as this ancient religion. Okay? And just because something is old doesn't mean that it's correct. You understand?
And even if we were to go, like, when you said something, these monotheistic Abrahamic religions versus this ancient religion, Islam is the most ancient religion in our belief because Islam has been around since Adam, who was the first human being. Ancient or not, time should not have a meter basing on what we believe the truth is, right? The truth is something that should stand alone and be rationally acceptable to any person, no matter the social strata, their financial status, whatever their profession is, their color, their ethnicity. The truth should be something, especially if it's as important as people who claim their different religions say it is, it should be something that can be universally grasped by any person who seeks it. Would you agree?
I would say no. I don't think that religion is something that's so universal.
No. I'm saying the truth.
The truth? I think the truth is subjective.
Okay, sister, this is where we have a fundamental difference. And I
Yeah.
think this is it's a good place for us to pause here. I really want you to reflect on that, because if you think that truth is subjective, then there would be no difference between you and the Agoris, who basically consider necrophilic acts and cannibalism as a path to moksha. So this is what I mean by there's just no rationality in the train of thought that you have. You're a very, very respectful person. I really encourage you to go and study critical thought and just to read a little bit more. I encourage you to go and read a copy of the Quran from cover to cover and see what makes most sense to you. Because if you boil it down to just subjectivity, then there is no point to meaning. There's no point to words. There's no point to anything that we're having a discussion here. Okay, sister?
I wouldn't say so. I would fundamentally disagree on that. Namely because I do, again, it is not necessarily that it's true. I think that like our fundamental understanding of what religion is very different.
I understand.
And how we perceive religion. So
No problem.
I think that's kind of like where we disagree, which makes kind of these.
It's not perceiving religion, sister. It's perceiving truth, right? And getting down to the bottom of truth. The question was about truth. It was not about religion. If we can't establish truth values objectively and everything is left to subjectivity, then your truth is going to be the truth. My truth is going to be the truth. And we will never see eye to eye on that. Okay.
Also, I think that this is not actually an honest statement when people say that they believe the truth is subjective, because ask them if somebody was to unalive their mother, their sister, their children, and they go to the court, and the court's like, well, we want to put someone in jail, but the truth is subjective, and everybody has different answers. His truth is this guy did it. His truth is this guy did it. So we can't put anybody in jail, because the guy who did it said he didn't do it. And he said he was there, even though we have video evidence that he's here, but he said he wasn't. And he's actually a flower, and he's incapable of hurting anybody. So we can't put him in jail. No one would accept that, right? So when it comes to God and religion and finding the truth of our existence, our purpose, people say, oh, well, truth is subjective. I think this, to me personally, I'm not saying you, I'm saying I see this as a cop-out for a lot of people to get away from answering hard questions and to actually face the potentiality that they've been believing in things that aren't as rational as what Islam brings. And so they just want to say, well, it's subjective. And this is something for you to think about. I'm not saying you're doing it for that reason, but to critically think and look in yourself. Why do I believe what I believe? Do I actually believe that there is a single truth for everything that happens? It's not my subjective belief that I exist. It's an objective belief that other people have evidence that I exist, right? And as such, we should think in a way that gives us certainty and peace, because if you were to go down that rabbit hole of uncertainty, subjectivity, it would lead to complete nihilism, complete meaninglessness. This is what we see in so many people today who have gone down this same path.
I think that like when you say, okay, so let's go back to the like someone who murdered their mother and all that, right? I think that when we talk about truth, we have to look at like what's objective and what's subjective. So what's objective? Person A murdered their mother. That is, I would
So,
say,
sister,
fact.
are you now accepting objectivity into truth?
I'm saying that truth and fact are two very different things.
Okay, sister. So, I mean this with all due respect. I think this is a good place for us to stop and for you to reflect, partly for the bird. Okay. So, reflect on the conversation that we had, and inshallah, God willing, just when you gather your thoughts, thank you very much for being very respectful and cordial. I welcome you back anytime when you gather your thoughts. And
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.